The massive alien ship hung in space like a metal mountain. Inside, Ambassador Zethkara walked through the bright corridors with long, proud steps. His purple skin gleamed under the lights and his forearms moved with perfect grace. He was important and he knew it. Zethkara stopped at a large window. Outside, stars filled the darkness like tiny diamonds. He smiled, showing sharp white teeth. The Vorthak Empire controlled hundreds of worlds. They were strong, smart, and better than everyone else. At least that's what Zethkara believed. "Sir," came a voice behind him. Captain Veltar approached, bowing low. "We have found something interesting." "What is it?" Zethkara asked, not turning around. "A new species, sir. They call themselves humans. They just learned to travel between stars." Zethkara finally turned. His yellow eyes showed no interest. "Another primitive race? How boring. They seem different, sir. Their ships are strange. Their technology works in ways we don't understand." "All young species seem strange at first," Zethkara said with a wave of his hand. "What matters is whether they have anything useful." "Do they?" Captain Veltar hesitated. "We found one of their colony ships. It was damaged and asking for help." "Perfect." Zethkara's smile grew wider. "Did you help them?" "In a way, sir. We took some specimens for our collection." The Vorthak Empire was famous for their xenobiological preserves. They collected interesting creatures from across the galaxy. The preserves were like zoos, but the Vorthak called them educational centers. Important visitors came to see the strange life forms. It made the Vorthak feel superior. "How many specimens?" Zethkara asked. 12, sir. Small ones. They seemed weak and helpless." "Good. Take me to see them." They walked through more corridors. The ship was huge, with thousands of rooms. Most held scientific equipment or living quarters for the crew. But deep inside the ship was the preserve section. Here the Vorthak kept their collection of alien life. The preserve looked beautiful. Soft lights created artificial sunlight. Plants from different worlds grew in careful gardens. Clear walls separated different environments. Behind each wall lived creatures from distant planets. "Here they are, sir." Captain Veltar pointed to a large enclosure. Zethkara looked inside and saw 12 small humans. They huddled together in one corner. Their skin was pale, not purple like proper Vorthak skin. They had only 2 arms each, which seemed wrong. Their hair came in different colors, yellow, brown, black. How strange. The humans were clearly young. Even Zethkara could see that. They moved like children, spoke in high voices, and stayed close together. The smallest one looked very young indeed. "They keep making noise," Captain Veltar complained. "They won't stop calling for their parents." "Parents?" Zethkara laughed. "How primitive. They still live in family groups?" "It seems so, sir. They also refuse to eat the food we give them." Zethkara watched the humans more carefully. One of them, a small female with yellow hair, sat crying. Others tried to comfort her. They shared their water and held each other when scared. "Interesting behavior," he said. "They show strong social bonds. This will be educational for our visitors." Inside the enclosure, 8-year-old Emma Chen pressed against the clear wall. She had been crying for hours. Her throat hurt and her eyes were red and swollen. "I want my mommy," she whispered to Tommy, a boy who was 10 years old. "She'll come find us," Tommy said, trying to sound brave. "My dad, too. They'll come." The other children nodded. They all believed their parents would save them. But the aliens had taken them so far from home. Their colony ship, the New Dawn, seemed like a distant memory now. The aliens had seemed friendly at first. They had answered the distress call when the New Dawn's engines broke down. The adult humans had been grateful for help. Then everything went wrong. The aliens had visited the ship. They walked around, looking at everything with great interest. They asked many questions about human children. The adults thought they were just curious about human families. Then the aliens asked if some children could visit their ship for a cultural exchange. Many parents agreed. It seemed like a good idea. The children would learn about alien life and the aliens would learn about humans. But the alien ship left without warning. The children were trapped inside. No one explained what was happening. The aliens just put them in this room with plants and artificial light. "Look," said Marcus, one of the older boys. He pointed to the window in their room. "Those purple things are watching us again." Emma looked and saw the aliens staring at them. The aliens didn't look mean exactly. They looked curious, like people watching animals at a zoo. That thought made Emma feel sick. "We're not animals," she said quietly. "I know," Tommy replied. but they don't understand that. Outside the enclosure, Zethkara continued his inspection. He made notes on a small device. Feed them properly, he told Captain Veltar. Find out what they eat naturally. We want healthy specimens, yes, sir. Should we separate them? No. Their group behavior is part of what makes them interesting. But watch them carefully. Some species become dangerous when stressed. Zethkara looked at the humans one more time. They seemed so weak and helpless. 2 arms, soft skin, no natural weapons. How had they even survived long enough to reach the stars? Sir? Another crew member approached. We're receiving messages from the human colony ship. What do they want? They're asking about their missing people. They seem upset. Zethkara laughed. Of course they're upset. We took their specimens. Tell them we'll return the humans after our research is complete. When will that be, sir? Who knows? These creatures might live for decades. We have plenty of time to study them. The crew member looked uncomfortable. Sir, the human messages are getting more frequent. And more angry. Let them be angry. What can they do? They have 1 damaged ship and primitive weapons. We have the entire Vorthak fleet. But even as Zethkara spoke, he felt a small worry. The humans had seemed too calm when the Vorthak first contacted them. Most primitive species were afraid or excited when meeting advanced aliens. The humans had been polite but careful. Also, their technology was strange. The Vorthak computers couldn't fully understand how human devices worked. Human ships were built differently than any other species the Vorthak had met. Keep monitoring their communications, Zethkara ordered, and increase security around the preserve. Is that necessary, sir? Zethkara looked at the human children again. They had stopped crying and were talking quietly among themselves. Even young, they showed unusual intelligence and planning behavior. Better safe than sorry, he said. As the Vorthak left, Emma pressed her face against the clear wall again. She could see stars through a small window across the corridor. Somewhere out there was her home. Somewhere out there was her mother, Captain Sarah Chen. Emma closed her eyes and made a promise to herself. She would be brave. She would take care of the younger children, and she would wait for her mother to find her, because Emma knew something the aliens didn't understand. Human parents never gave up. Never. Her mother would come, no matter how long it took or how dangerous it was. The aliens thought they had captured weak specimens for their collection. But they had made the biggest mistake in their species' history. They had taken human children. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the New Dawn, staring at the empty space where the alien ship had been. Her hands shook with rage and fear. Emma was gone. Her 8-year-old daughter was somewhere in the darkness, taken by creatures she didn't understand. Captain, First Officer David Park spoke quietly. We've sent 17 messages. No response. Sarah turned to face her crew. These weren't just officers and engineers anymore. They were parents, aunts, uncles, and friends of the missing children. Every face showed the same desperate anger she felt. Tom Bradley stepped forward. His son Marcus was among the taken children. Sarah, we have to do something. I know. Sarah's voice was steady, but inside she was screaming. Communications, patch me through to all colonist families. Within minutes, the ship's main hall filled with people. Parents who had lost children sat next to those who hadn't, but the division didn't matter now. When human children were in danger, all humans became family. Sarah looked at the crowd. These were farmers, teachers, engineers, and doctors. They had left Earth to build a peaceful life among the stars. None of them were soldiers. But as she looked at their faces, Sarah saw something that made her feel both proud and frightened. She saw the awakening of something ancient and terrible. The aliens took our children, she began. 12 kids, ranging from 6 to 14 years old. They treat them like animals in a zoo. Angry voices rose from the crowd. Maria Santos, Emma's teacher, stood up. What do we do? Our ship is damaged. We don't have weapons. We have something better, Sarah replied. We have motivation. Dr. Robert Kim, the colony's chief scientist, spoke up. Sarah, I've been studying their technology. Their ship is advanced, but it uses principles we can understand. More importantly, I found something interesting in their communications. What? They don't understand us at all. They think we're a primitive species. They have no idea what humans are capable of when our children are threatened. A cold smile spread across Sarah's face. Good. Let them keep thinking that. Over the next 12 hours, the New Dawn transformed. The ship had been designed for peaceful colonization, but humans were remarkably good at adapting. Families worked together to turn farming equipment into weapons. The hydroponics bay became a planning center. The schoolrooms became training areas. Dr. Kim worked with a team of engineers to boost the ship's engines. They couldn't match alien technology, but they could make the New Dawn faster and harder to track. "We're not trying to win a space battle," Sarah explained to the group. "We're going to get our kids back. That means being smart, not strong." Lisa Chang, a former military engineer, had found something important. "I've been analyzing their ship's signature. They left a trail we can follow." "How long ago did they leave?" Sarah asked. 18 hours. "But Captain, even if we catch them, their ship is huge. It probably has heavy defenses and a large crew." Sarah looked around the room. Every parent nodded with the same grim determination. "They can have all the defenses they want," said Tom Bradley. "They made one mistake." "What's that?" "They took our children." The New Dawn launched 6 hours later. The damaged engines had been repaired and improved. The ship moved through space with deadly purpose. Inside the alien ship, Ambassador Zeth Kara received troubling news. "Sir," Captain Veltar entered his office quickly. "The human ship is following us." "Following us? How?" "Unknown, sir. Our sensors show they've increased speed significantly. They're closing the distance." Zeth Kara felt confused. This wasn't normal behavior for a primitive species. Usually when the Vorthak took specimens, the home population accepted it. Sometimes they complained, but they never actually pursued a Vorthak ship. "How many ships are they sending?" "Just one, sir. The same colony ship we found earlier." "One ship?" Zeth Kara laughed, but the sound was nervous. "What do they think they can accomplish with one damaged ship? Should we destroy them, sir?" "No, that would upset the Galactic Council. We're supposed to be friendly with new species." Zeth Kara thought for a moment. "Send them a message. Tell them we'll return their specimens after our research is complete." An hour later, the response came back. It was short and simple. "Return our children now." Zeth Kara was surprised by the tone. Most species were polite when communicating with the Vorthak Empire. These humans sounded angry. "Send another message," he ordered. "Explain that we are scientists. Tell them their specimens are being well cared for." The human response came even faster this time. "They are children, not specimens. You have 1 hour to return them." 1 hour? Zeth Kara's purple skin turned darker with anger. Who do they think they are? Meanwhile, on the New Dawn, Sarah Chen studied the alien ship through their telescopes. It was enormous, probably 10 times larger than her colony ship. It bristled with weapons and armor. "Scared?" Dr. Kim asked quietly. "Terrified," Sarah admitted. "But it doesn't matter. The crew is asking about the plan." Sarah smiled, and Dr. Kim felt a chill run down his spine. He had known Sarah for years, but he had never seen her smile like that. It was the smile of a predator. "The plan is simple," she said. "They think we're primitive. They think we'll give up or attack them directly. They're wrong. What are we going to do?" "Something they'll never expect. We're going to show them what humans really are." In the alien preserve, Emma Chen tried to keep the younger children calm. She had become their leader, even though she was scared too. The aliens visited them every few hours, taking notes and pictures. "Are you okay, Lily?" Emma asked the youngest child, a 6-year-old with brown hair. "I want to go home," Lily whispered. "We will," Emma promised. "My mom is coming. All our parents are coming." Tommy, the 10-year-old boy, sat down next to them. "How do you know?" Emma looked at him with absolute certainty. "Because they're human." She didn't fully understand what that meant yet, but deep inside, in the part of her mind that remembered ancient human history, she knew her parents would never stop looking. Never stop fighting. Never give up. Outside their prison, the alien crew went about their normal duties. They had no idea that they had awakened something terrible. They had taken the young of a species that had evolved as persistence hunters, a species that would chase prey across continents for days without stopping, a species that protected their young with a fury that had once driven them to kill creatures 10 times their size. The Vorthak thought they understood humans. They had watched them for a few hours and decided they were weak and harmless. They were about to learn the difference between being civilized and being harmless. Sarah, Chen looked at the alien ship growing larger on their screens. In a few hours they would catch up. The real work would begin then. "Ready?" she asked her crew. "Ready," came the reply from every person on the ship. They were teachers and farmers and engineers. But today, they were something older and more dangerous. Today they were human parents coming for their children. The new dawn caught up to the alien ship near a small moon. Sarah Chen stood on her bridge looking at the massive vessel through the main screen. It was beautiful in a deadly way, covered in smooth purple metal and glowing with soft lights. "They're trying to communicate," reported Officer Park. "Put them through," Sarah ordered. The screen flickered, and Ambassador Zeth Kara appeared. His forearms moved gracefully as he spoke, and his yellow eyes showed calm confidence. "Human vessel," he began. "I am Ambassador Zeth Kara of the Vorthak Empire. You have followed us for quite a distance." Sarah stepped forward. She had changed out of her casual clothes and now wore her formal captain's uniform. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with controlled fury. "I am Captain Sarah Chen. You have something that belongs to us." "Ah, yes, the specimens. I assure you they are being well cared for. Our scientists are very interested in studying your species. This is a great honor." Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Behind her, the bridge crew waited. They could all see their captain fighting to control herself. "Specimens." Sarah's voice was dangerously quiet. "Yes, 12 fine examples of your kind. They will help us understand human biology and behavior. We will return them when our research is complete." "Let me make sure I understand," Sarah said, taking a step closer to the screen. "You took 12 members of our species without permission. You're keeping them in cages, and you call them specimens. Well, yes, but they are being treated humanely." "We are not cruel." Sarah was silent again. When she finally spoke, her voice was different, deeper, more dangerous. "Ambassador Zeth Kara, those 12 specimens have names. Emma Chen, Marcus Bradley, Tommy Park, Lily Santos." She listed all 12 names slowly, clearly. "The youngest is 6 years old. The oldest is 14. Zeth Kara looked confused. "I don't understand. What is your point?" Sarah leaned forward, and every person watching felt their blood turn cold. "You imprisoned human children? Do you even realize, my God? What have you done?" For the first time, Zeth Kara felt a touch of uncertainty. The human's tone had changed completely. She no longer sounded like a worried parent or even an angry captain. She sounded like something much more dangerous. "They are simply young specimens of your species," he said, but his voice was less confident now. "Children," Sarah corrected. "Human children. Do you have any idea what that means?" No, should I?" Sarah smiled, and Zeth Kara felt a chill run through his purple skin. It was not a nice smile. "You're about to find out." The communication ended abruptly. On the alien ship, Zeth Kara stared at the empty screen. "Captain Veltar," he called. "Yes, sir?" "Increase shields. Prepare weapons." "Sir?" "They only have one ship. It's much smaller than ours." "I know. But something about that human—" Zeth Kara paused. "Just do it." On the new dawn, Sarah turned to her crew. The bridge was packed with colonists. Parents, teachers, doctors, engineers. All of them looked at her with complete trust. "Is everyone ready?" she asked. "Ready," they replied. Dr. Kim spoke up from his station. "Sarah, their shields are up. Their weapons are powered." "Good," Sarah said. "That means they're scared. What's the plan?" asked Tom Bradley. Sarah looked at the alien ship on the screen. It was huge and powerful. In a direct fight, the new dawn would be destroyed in minutes. "We're not going to fight their ship," she said. "We're going to board it." Shocked voices rose from the crowd. "Board it? How?" asked Maria Santos. "Dr. Kim, show them." Dr. Kim activated a holographic display. The alien ship appeared in 3D, rotating slowly. "I've been studying their design," he explained. "It's built for space combat, but not for what we're planning. Look here." He pointed to a section near the rear of the ship. "Maintenance airlocks. They're not heavily defended because no one expects boarding parties anymore." "How do we get there without being shot?" asked someone. Sarah smiled that cold smile again. "We use their own assumptions against them." 20 minutes later, a small maintenance pod separated from the new dawn. It drifted through space, looking like debris. Inside were 12 humans, exactly the same number as the children taken. Sarah Chen led the group. With her were Tom Bradley, Dr. Kim, Maria Santos, and 8 other parents and friends. They wore simple work suits and carried basic tools. They looked like maintenance workers or engineers. They didn't look dangerous at all, that was the point. The pod drifted closer to the alien ship. Vorthak sensors detected it, but the readings showed only a small craft with minimal energy. "Not a threat. Should we destroy it?" asked a Vorthak officer. No, replied Captain Veltar. It's probably just debris from their ship. Let it drift past. The pod touched the alien hull near the maintenance airlock. Sarah placed her hand on the ship's surface and closed her eyes. Emma, she whispered. Mommy's coming. Dr. Kim worked on the airlock with modified tools. Human engineering was different from Vorthak technology, but both followed basic principles. Within minutes, the lock opened. They slipped inside quietly. The corridors were empty. The Vorthak didn't expect intruders in this part of their ship. This way, Dr. Kim whispered, checking his scanner. The life signs are deeper in the ship. They moved through the alien corridors like ghosts. Sarah led the way, her motherly instincts guiding her toward her child. Behind her, the other humans followed with deadly purpose. In the preserve section, Emma Chen looked up suddenly. Did you hear that? What? Asked Tommy. I don't know, something. Emma pressed her ear to the wall. It sounded like what? Emma's eyes filled with tears, but they were happy tears. Like my mom's footsteps. Outside their enclosure, Sarah and her team had found the preserve. They looked through the windows at different alien creatures from across the galaxy. Some were beautiful, some were strange, some were frightening. Then Sarah saw them, 12 human children in a clear-walled room huddled together. Emma sat in the center, comforting the younger ones. For a moment, Sarah couldn't breathe. Her daughter was alive, scared but alive. Tom Bradley saw his son Marcus and made a small sound. Maria Santos spotted several of her students. All the adults felt the same crushing mix of relief and rage. How do we get them out? Whispered Dr. Kim. Sarah studied the enclosure. It was designed to hold alien creatures, not human children. More importantly, it was designed by people who didn't understand humans at all. Stand back, she said quietly. Sarah placed her hands on the clear wall and began to push. The other adults joined her. 12 humans working together, fueled by the desperate love of parents for their children. The wall wasn't designed for that kind of pressure. It cracked, then shattered. Mom! Emma cried out and ran into Sarah's arms. I'm here, baby, Sarah whispered, holding her daughter tight. I'm here. All around them, children ran to their parents and friends. Tears flowed freely as families reunited, but their celebration was short-lived. Alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Intruders in Section 7 came announcements in the alien language. Time to go, Sarah said, still holding Emma. They moved quickly through the corridors. But now Vorthak security forces were responding. Purple-skinned aliens with weapons appeared ahead of them. Stop, commanded a Vorthak officer. You cannot remove the specimens. Sarah stepped forward, Emma in her arms. The other children clustered behind their parents. Watch us, Sarah said simply. The Vorthak raised their weapons but hesitated. These humans didn't look like warriors. They looked like parents with their children. That hesitation was their mistake. The humans moved as one. Not like soldiers, but like a family protecting itself. They used tools as weapons, turned furniture into shields, and fought with a desperation the Vorthak couldn't understand. Within minutes, the corridor was clear. The Vorthak had retreated, shocked by the ferocity of the human response. This way, Dr. Kim called, leading them toward the airlocks. But as they ran, Sarah knew this was only the beginning. The Vorthak had learned something today about humans and children. The question was, would they be smart enough to never make this mistake again? 3 days after the rescue, the story had spread across half the galaxy. In the crystal towers of Altair Prime, Ambassador Shimmering Through Stars received an urgent message from the Galactic Council. The crystalline being's body flickered with confused colors as she read about the incident at Kepler Station. The humans did what? She asked her aide. They boarded a Vorthak Empire ship, sir. Rescued their young by force. No casualties among the humans or their children. Shimmering Through Stars thought about this. Her species, the Altarians, had met humans before. 2 years ago, human traders had helped defend an Altarian colony from pirates. Get me the files on the Centauri incident, she ordered. The aide brought up the records. Shimmering Through Stars read them again, seeing the events in a new light. The pirate attack had been sudden and brutal. The Altarian colony had no defenses. Their young were in terrible danger. Then human traders arrived carrying nothing but mining equipment and farming supplies. The humans could have left. Should have left. The pirates had better weapons and more ships. But when they saw Altarian children in danger, the humans had stayed to fight. 12 humans died protecting young they had never met before, young that weren't even their own species. At the time, Shimmering Through Stars had thought it was strange but noble. Now she understood it differently. Send a priority message to the Council, she ordered. The Vorthak incident isn't unusual human behavior. It's normal human behavior. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening. On the water world of Aquatica, Admiral Flowing Current spoke with his Council of War. The amphibious beings had fought alongside humans in 3 different conflicts. I told you all before, Admiral Flowing Current said, his gills fluttering with agitation. Never threaten human young. Not their own, not anyone else's. Why? Asked a younger officer. They're not the strongest species. Not the fastest or smartest. Because, the Admiral explained, they don't fight like other species. Most creatures fight to win. Humans fight to protect. When you threaten their young, they don't fight to win anymore. They fight until they're dead or the threat is gone. There's no middle ground. The officer looked confused. That sounds inefficient. It is. It's also unstoppable. Admiral Flowing Current remembered the Battle of Titan's Moon. Pirates had captured a human colony ship with families aboard. 3 different species had tried to negotiate. The pirates wanted ransom money. The humans didn't negotiate. They sent 7 ships and fought for 18 hours straight. By the end, the pirate fleet was destroyed. Every human family was rescued. The human fleet had suffered heavy damage. Half their ships were barely able to fly. But they had brought their people home. Send word to all our fleets, the Admiral ordered. If we encounter humans in battle, check what they're protecting. If children are involved, either help them or stay out of their way. On the desert planet Zerion, the insectoid hive queen received the news through her 1,000 eyes. Her species communicated through shared thoughts, so information spread quickly through the entire hive. The younger drones were confused. Why would one species fight so hard for just 12 individuals? But the hive queen understood. She remembered the human engineer named David Walsh. He had come to Zerion to build water purification systems. Good work, fair payment, no problems. Then the solar storms came. Radiation levels spiked across the planet. The hive could survive underground, but their nursery caves would be flooded if the storms continued. David Walsh had volunteered to repair the shield generators. The radiation would kill a human in hours. He knew this. Why? The hive queen had asked him. Because your young need protection, he had answered simply. David Walsh died fixing the shields, but 1 million Zerion young lived because of his sacrifice. The hive queen sent her thoughts across the galaxy to other hive minds. The humans protect young. All young, always. Remember this. Meanwhile, at Kepler Station, Ambassador Zethkara sat in his office in disgrace. The rescue had been a disaster for the Vorthak Empire. Somehow, 12 humans with basic tools had penetrated their most secure ship and rescued their specimens. Not specimens, Zethkara corrected himself. Children. Sir, Captain Veltar entered quietly. The Galactic Council is demanding an explanation. What should I tell them? The truth? Zethkara looked at his captain. What is the truth? Veltar hesitated. That we didn't understand what we were dealing with. Reports kept coming in from across the Empire. Other Vorthak commanders were sharing their own experiences with humans. The picture that emerged was disturbing. Humans didn't follow normal patterns. Most species cared about their own survival first, then their own young, then their tribe, then maybe others. Humans seemed to care about young first. Regardless of species, Commander Zixtal reported an incident where human peacekeepers had risked their lives to save Vorthak. Children during a natural disaster, Captain. Morgan described human medics who worked for days straight to treat wounded alien civilians, including former enemies. Ambassador Kelsa mentioned human colonists who had shared their food supplies with starving refugees, even when it meant going hungry themselves. They're not normal, Zethkara said finally. No, sir, they're not. Send a message to the Galactic Council, Zethkara ordered. Tell them the Vorthak Empire formally apologizes for the incident. Tell them we want to establish proper diplomatic relations with humanity. Yes, sir. What about our specimen collection program? Zethkara thought about the human captain's face when she spoke about her daughter. The cold fury in her eyes. The absolute certainty that she would do anything to protect her child. Suspend it immediately. No more collecting from species with young. Sir, that's most species. I know. 3 days later, The human colony ship New Dawn received a formal apology from the Vorthak Empire. They also received invitations to establish trade relations and cultural exchanges. Sarah Chen read the messages while Emma played with her friends in the ship's common area. The children seemed fine, though Sarah noticed they stayed closer to adults now. "What do you think?" asked Dr. Kim. "I think they learned something," Sarah replied, "about humans, about children, about what happens when you threaten them." Dr. Kim looked at the children playing. They were laughing and acting normal, but he could see the change too. They had learned that the galaxy could be dangerous, but they had also learned that their parents would move heaven and earth to protect them. "The Galactic Council wants to meet with us," Sarah said, reading another message. "They want to discuss human protective instincts and how they affect galactic law." "Are you going?" Sarah looked at Emma, who was teaching a younger child how to play a card game. Her daughter was safe. All the children were safe, but there were millions of other children across the galaxy, human and alien alike. "Yes," she said. "I think we need to have that conversation." The galaxy was learning about humanity, but more importantly, humanity was learning about their place in the galaxy. They weren't the strongest species or the smartest or the most advanced, but they had something unique. Something that would shape galactic civilization for generations to come. They protected the innocent, all the innocent, no matter the cost, and the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months later, the Great Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with activity. Representatives from hundreds of worlds had gathered for the most important session in decades. At the center of attention stood a human woman in a simple blue uniform. Admiral Sarah Chen looked out at the assembled delegates. Crystalline beings from Altair Prime reflected rainbow light. The amphibious representatives from Aquatica sat in specialized water tanks. Insectoid hive minds clicked and chirped in their own language. And in the front row, Ambassador Zethkara of the Vorthak Empire sat quietly, his forearms folded in respect. "The Council recognizes Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth," announced the speaker, a tall, golden-skinned being from the core worlds. Sarah stepped forward to the central podium. The hall fell silent. 6 months ago, my daughter was taken from our colony ship," she began. "She was 8 years old. Her name is Emma, and she likes to draw pictures of stars." Sarah's voice was calm, but everyone in the hall could feel the strength behind it. The beings who took her called her a specimen. They put her in a cage with 11 other human children. They thought they were conducting scientific research. Ambassador Zethkara shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Today I want to talk about what happened next, but more importantly I want to talk about why it happened." Sarah activated a holographic display. It showed scenes from across the galaxy, humans working alongside different alien species. Humans are not the strongest species in the galaxy. We're not the smartest or the most advanced, but we have something that makes us different. The display showed human medics treating wounded aliens during a disaster, human engineers building schools for alien children, human peacekeepers protecting refugee camps filled with multiple species. "We protect the innocent," Sarah continued, "not just our own innocent. All innocent, especially children." A delegate from the Spiral Arm spoke up. "Admiral Chen, this protective instinct seems to cause many conflicts. Wouldn't it be better if humans were more controlled?" Sarah turned to face the delegate. Her expression was patient but firm. 3 months ago, your own colony was attacked by raiders. Who arrived first to help?" The delegate hesitated. "Human patrol ships, and then what did they do?" They fought off the raiders, saved our young." "At what cost?" The delegate's voice became very quiet. 2 human ships were destroyed. 43 humans died," Sarah nodded. 43 humans died protecting children they had never met. Children of a species they had known for less than a year. "Do you think that was controlled behavior?" The hall was silent. "Now I ask you," Sarah continued, "when your children were in danger, were you glad that humans were uncontrolled?" The delegate sat down without answering. Sarah looked around the hall. "The Terran protocols you're voting on today will change how the galaxy treats children of all species. Not just human children. All children." She activated another display. This one showed the proposed laws. Any harm to children of any species will be considered a crime against all species. Any species that intentionally targets children will face immediate intervention, and any species that protects children will receive full support from the human fleet. A representative from the corporate sector stood up. Admiral, that's a very expensive policy. Why should humans spend their resources protecting alien children? Sarah smiled, and several delegates leaned back instinctively. They had heard about that smile. Because they're children, she said simply. That's reason enough. The corporate representative pressed on. But surely there are limits. You can't protect everyone. Watch us, Sarah replied. Ambassador Zethkara rose slowly. The hall turned to look at him with surprise. The Vorthak Empire had requested this chance to speak, but few expected their representative to actually do it. May I address the council? He asked. The speaker nodded. Zethkara walked to the podium beside Sarah. His purple skin was pale, and his yellow eyes showed deep emotion. 6 months ago, I made the worst mistake in my species' history, he began. I ordered the capture of human children. I called them specimens. I put them in cages. The hall was completely silent now. I did this because I thought humans were primitive, weak, unimportant. Zethkara's voice grew stronger. I was wrong about everything. He turned to look at Sarah. This human came to my ship with 11 other humans. They had no weapons, no advanced technology. No army. What did they have? Asked the speaker. Love, Zethkara answered. Love for their children. Love so strong it made them unstoppable. He faced the assembly. They walked through our security like it wasn't there. They broke down walls with their bare hands. They fought our armed guards with farming tools and won. Several delegates shifted nervously. But that's not why I'm here. Zethkara continued. I'm here because of what happened after. After they rescued their children, Admiral Chen could have destroyed my ship. She had every right. We had committed an act of war against her species. The hall waited. Instead, she taught us. She showed us what children mean to humans, what family means, what protection means. Zethkara's voice was filled with wonder. The Vorthak Empire has learned more about strength in 6 months than we did in 600 years. He turned back to Sarah. Admiral Chen, on behalf of the Vorthak Empire, I want to say something. Sarah nodded. We want to join you. We want to help protect children across the galaxy. We want to learn how to be strong the way humans are strong. The hall erupted in surprised voices. The Vorthak Empire was one of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy. Their offer of alliance was significant. Sarah looked at Zethkara for a long moment. What about your specimen collection program? Ended completely. We've returned every being in our preserves to their home worlds, with full compensation and formal apologies. What about your military doctrine? Changed. Our ships now carry medical supplies and emergency shelters. Our officers are trained in rescue operations and disaster relief. Sarah extended her hand. Welcome to the family, Ambassador. Zethkara took her hand with all 4 of his arms. Thank you, Admiral. The speaker called for order. The council will now vote on the Terran protocols. The vote was unanimous. As the session ended, delegates gathered around Sarah and Zethkara. Representatives from dozens of species wanted to know more about human protective instincts. They wanted to understand how to work with humans, how to earn their friendship, how to make sure they never became their enemies. Admiral, asked a delegate from the Outer Rim, what advice would you give to species that want to build good relationships with humanity? Sarah thought about Emma, who was now 9 years old and attending school on New Geneva, the human diplomatic colony. She thought about all the human children playing safely across the galaxy, protected by treaties and laws that had grown from one terrible mistake. It's simple, she said. Protect children. All children. Human children, your own children, anyone's children. If you do that, you'll never have problems with humans. And if we don't, Sarah's expression grew serious. Then you'll learn what happened to the Vorthak Empire. Except next time there might not be a peaceful ending. Several delegates swallowed nervously. Later that evening, Sarah sat in her quarters aboard the human diplomatic ship. Through her window, she could see dozens of ships from different species. The galaxy was changing, becoming safer for children everywhere. Her communication device chimed. Emma's face appeared on the screen. Hi, Mom. How did the meeting go? Very well, sweetheart. The galaxy is going to be a safer place for all children. That's good. Oh, Mom, guess what? My teacher is from Altair Prime. She's made of crystal. And my friend Marcus's dad got a letter from the Vorthak Empire. They want to hire him to design new rescue ships. Sarah smiled. That's wonderful, honey. Mom, are you coming home soon? Soon, baby. Just a few more meetings. Okay, I love you. I love you too, Emma. After the call ended, Sarah looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there were billions of children from hundreds of species, and now for the first time in galactic history, they were all protected by the same laws, the same promise. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or rulers, but as protectors, as the species that would fight anyone and anything that threatened the innocent. The galaxy had learned a simple truth: harm a human child, and face the fury of the entire human race. But protect any child anywhere and earn humanity's eternal friendship. It was a lesson the galaxy would never forget, and in the years to come, as human ships patrolled the spaceways and human medics treated the wounded and human teachers educated the young, the galaxy would grow into something it had never been before, a place where all children could grow up safe.